Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. And today we're going to get into the topic of detoxing from your phone and social media. Now, obviously, your phone can be a major addicting aspect of your life. And the truth is that I would say this is the case with almost anybody and everybody. Some people know how to manage it a little better than others, while some people get lost in it, where you can get lost in, you know, watching things. And I get it, sometimes we watch things to learn things, which is not really a bad thing, but sometimes we consume too much entertainment, quote unquote entertainment, um social media, which can be a bad thing. Or we're on our phone and we're texting people a whole bunch, and being social on your phone can be a good thing, but then sometimes too that can also be a problem, because if you have too many pen pals and you're not actually meeting people in person, that can be a problem also. And nowadays a lot of people get caught in that, where you're just back and forth texting somebody and you're waiting by your phone for that text with that person. But at the end of the day, if you're not um, seeing that person, you're just going back and forth texting them, you're not seeing that person in person, then that could be a problem and tell you that you kind of need to, maybe change the dynamic of that relationship. But that goes into a whole different topic. Right now, we're just really focusing on the fact of, you know, the reasons why people get addicted to using their phone all the time, and then ways for us to get away from that. So, jumping into some of the reasons why we get locked in. First, we're going to hit on the fact of the dating market, or the social market, in terms of, like I mentioned before, texting people or whatever the case is. In that aspect of things, for women, often it's attention and validation. So it's having a group of maybe guys that are friends, or even guys that maybe they like, and constantly just having them hit them up all the time, just little messages here and there, hey, how you doing, x, y, and z. And you know for them, it often feels nice to know that you have somebody who's constantly giving you attention every day, just if maybe you're single, and it feels good to have excuse me, feels good to have that person who's constantly, or group of people who's constantly hitting you up. And they're they're constantly like saying to you, good morning, how you doing, how you feel, you're beautiful, x, y, and z. And then that can become addicting in itself, and it's not very healthy, because one, you're constantly looking at your phone. Your phone becomes this box of validation that's just constantly feeding you, validation through, until you have those people actually really in your life, or you put them in your life in a significant way. It's really just a virtual entity on the other side of that phone that's just sending you validation or attention, and you think it's real, and it really doesn't mean anything in the real world. But it, like I said, we're not focused on so much the negatives of what's coming from that, as much as it creates an addiction. It creates an addiction, and that becomes unhealthy. For guys, I would say, for a lot of guys, it's just easier than being in reality, or being in the real world. And that, in the social market or the dating market, that definitely becomes an issue when it comes to, we'll say, somebody that the guy likes, or maybe even dating apps, or maybe even watching videos, explicit videos, or whatever the case is. It's that way of just chiming in. So, for example, when it comes to, say, somebody that you, several girls that maybe you're talking to, they aren't giving you that the real attention you need. You're holding on by a string, constantly like going back and forth, and you're talking, you're waiting for that next text. And it's different than the female, where she could easily say, I want to come meet up with you, but her addiction is more just accepting that validation and attention, using it for what it is there. Or the guy's part, the negative is like not actually being able to get that face to face contact that he actually wants. So that becomes the problem there, that he's constantly in this kind of false sense of reality. And it's not in the fact that he's partaking in it is his fault. the fact that he's not getting an actual, that person's not down to hang out with them, that part's not his fault. But either way, it still comes down to the fact that he probably feels more comfortable. For a lot of guys, they get more comfortable dealing with situations like that than just being in the real world and just saying, you know what, if this person's not actually giving me face to face contact, I'm going to go be a part of the real world, put down my phone, be a part of the real world and interact with people like that. Let me just talk to people. Let me socialize with people. And like I said, that can go into a whole nother matter in terms of you building up your social skills. I mentioned back on some past videos on the channel. Specifically, you could look for personal growth and social growth and kind of see where I speak on ways to kind of get around that if you're having trouble with that. But definitely you want to get out of that space of being so addicted to your phone for the purpose of this kind of social dynamic where it's easier for you to just plug in and talk to people like that and feeling like that's your only sense of social or dating dynamic for both parties, men and women, I'm sorry. Now another reason outside of the dating world, or social world, is instant gratification of media content, or for enjoyment. um this becomes a big issue because nowadays with the concept of the phone, you're getting instant gratification to things that maybe you would have had to sit at home and actually sit down to watch, whether it's the news, whether it's a movie, whatever it might be. You had to actually dedicate your time to that event, so it actually took you out of whatever you're doing. So if you're out and about and you're outside, you're with friends, this and that, you wanted to go watch a movie, watch the news, this and that, you had to make your way back home. And since that was such a journey, you would then go, you know what? I'll save that for when I'm home, maybe at the end of the night, and I'm not going to just zone out into all these different things, or maybe something you want to watch on the computer. You would have to come home on your computer to do it. Now, with the phone being able to give you access to that anywhere you go, it's very easy to just fall into this addiction of instant gratification through media content, whether it's something you like watching for entertainment or whatever the case is. And some of the things that people end up watching, it spirals where you might get pushed a notification or a video that is something that's, maybe it's got violence in it, maybe it's got some kind of daredevil type of thing going on where somebody's, I don't know, they're driving a car real fast and they happen to crash, some kind of over the top thing that gets your adrenaline going, and then next thing you know, that puts you onto another video like that, another one. Or maybe there's some kind of like entertainment type of news content, like maybe some celebrities are talking celebrity gossip, and you go on social media and you look at it, and that gets you going from one thing to the next, and whatever the case is. It's just a point that you're getting instant gratification at any given moment, and that in itself can be very addicting. And I completely understand. Sometimes you have to say to yourself, when I'm out and I'm outside and I'm doing my thing, that you know that stuff is for inside time. That's for when I'm not dealing with the regular world, the outside world. I'm meeting up with my friends. I'm running errands or whatever the case is. And yes, we have those moments. We have to do those things anyway. But sometimes also while you're out and about, you're doing those things. Say I'm not going to be on my phone. I'm going to dedicate some time to actually just enjoy whatever I'm going to get into, or make a plan to get into something if you didn't already have plans. So definitely take that time. Don't get lost in that space where it's just, sorry about that, where you get lost inside that space where it's just becomes, just that, it becomes, okay, I'm out and about, but I'm on my phone. I'm constantly checking my phone. I'm pulling my phone out. I'm checking text messages. I'm checking social media. I'm checking this and that. Don't have yourself just get caught up in all that. You got to detox from all of that, because it makes you a better person. It makes you a more grounded person. It makes you better able to handle the real world reality. Also, too, you'll find that you spend so much time, all of us spend so much time. I know it's not easy, but if you really counted the hours that you were on social media, watching things and this and that, whatever the case is, granted, on my channel right now, if you're watching this, you're watching social media. But I'm not saying that everyone shouldn't, indulge in stuff on their phone. I'm just simply saying limit it to a time frame where it's reasonable and it's manageable, and it makes sense. Um, Especially when it comes to if you're out and about, don't then put that time frame into, maybe you're at a park bench and you're looking at your social media, or you get caught up. Maybe you're doing something, you're out to eat. Maybe you're like, I don't know, at a fast food place. You're hungry. You're eating something. Cool. But then you end up burying your head inside your phone after you're done eating. And next thing you know, you sat there probably an additional 30 minutes to an hour in that same eatery, just watching your social media because you're like, hey, I just got caught up into it. Got to get yourself out of that state of mind and out of that, for many reasons. One, I was just aiming or hitting the points of the addiction in itself, but often, too, the actual content that most of us are digesting, and whether that's from the just the media content, or whether it's even just the way we're talking with people that are just having us go in circles and none's coming from it. It's unhealthy, that even that interaction of what we're doing. It's one thing that you're looking at a video that's teaching you about something. I get that. Maybe you're researching a product you're going to buy. I understand that too. But sometimes us getting lost in just watching videos of maybe somebody's hurting themselves, or, like being hurt, or like, and when I say hurting themselves, I don't mean like abuse, but I mean like, somebody's doing like crazy, stupid stunts. Maybe they're on their bike and they jump off something and they fall, and it's just video clips of catching people fall and they hurt themselves, or things like that. Don't get lost in that space, because like I said, the content itself is just not healthy for you. It kind of starts turning you into a zombie in regards to certain things that you might see. So don't get lost in that. Like I said, take the time to detox from your phone, detox from social media a little bit at a time. It's very important. Be a part of the real world. These are things that will eventually evolve to social skills, that will help you in the world in the grand scheme of things. Because at the end of the day, especially as we get older, but even when you're younger, you should know this. But just being able to interact with the rest of the world just makes you a better person. And as we mentioned on this channel plenty of times again and again, this is all about bettering yourself as a person, bettering yourself so you have the ability to interact with the world. And like I said, the key components that we mentioned at the beginning of this channel: personal growth, social growth, and money management. All these things in your life should be the focus of your development, and not spending too much time just wasting away. And like I said, you should always make time for fun. I understand that, but also don't let yourself be wasted away into just diving into social media, because often it's not necessarily fun. It's just addicting. And it's not necessarily something where a day later we feel like we gained anything significant from that. Whereas, say, if you went out with your friends and you guys went out to eat, you had a good time, or maybe, maybe you're younger, you went to go play some sports with your friends, or whatever the case is, um, depending on, what your age is, whatever, you get the point. It's going to be a memory that you're going to remember the next day and a week later, and whatever the case is. You're going to say, like, 5 weeks from that time, I remember that time I went out and me and my friends, we had a good conversation, or whatever it was. And I remember it. Maybe someone said something really funny. And then a couple of years from then, you'll be like, hey, remember that time when we used to go out and whatever. Even if it goes into a collective memory of all the times you used to go out, it's still you're gonna remember that as, yeah, remember we used to always go out and we used to talk and have a good time, or whatever the case is. But that video that you watched, or that 100 videos that you watched in that month's time, you're not going to remember most of them. Unless it was something that you were watching for the purpose of learning something, or maybe researching a product. Most of those videos that you just watched for basic entertainment, you're not going to remember at all, many months down the line, nor is it going to give you any level of significance to your life. So definitely, be aware of that. It's not just the addiction to your phone; it's the actual content that you're watching is also often no good. So, like I said, keep that in mind, and comment down below, if you guys have any thoughts in regards to all of this. So comment, like, share, and subscribe. And as always, you guys take care, be safe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.